From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 530 News.
Anyone who is fully vaccinated can participate in indoor and outdoor activities, large or small, without wearing a mask or physical distancing. If you are fully vaccinated, you can start doing the things that you had stopped doing because of the pandemic. We have all longed for this moment.
A big move from the CDC today announcing a major step back to normal. That is, if you are fully vaccinated. Now, this news as hundreds flocked to the Shrine Auditorium this morning for a COVID-19 vaccine and left with $50 cash. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jeanelle Slade. A few things different about today's COVID vaccination clinic here in Billings. The line of eager people wrapped around the building. They got paid to be there, and the age of the participant pool dropped. Here's Q2's ANDREA LUTZ with why some parents have been waiting for this day for months.
As people in Billings flock to the Shrine Auditorium to get those vaccines for 12 to 15-year-olds, some of the first in line today are pediatricians. They say they know how important this vaccine is for kids.
Billings pediatrician KATHRYN LYSINGER already has important information about vaccines at her fingertips.
Being able to be vaccinated is so exciting because we can finally let them be kids.
So when it comes to the Pfizer vaccine, now approved for teens, she and her son Jacob got in line. This year, the family was touched with COVID, like so many others.
How long did you spend in quarantine this year?
Over a month.
Yeah.
As they make their way through the line at the shrine, KATHRYN signs that consent form, and Jacob is well on his way to getting the shot. And for him, that small pinch only lasted a second.
That's it. You did an awesome job.
As a doctor, Lysinger says children can get very sick from COVID. Nearly 14,000 were hospitalized over the span of last year due to the virus.
The adolescents are the ones that do tend to drive some of the spread, and they are more likely to spread it, and they spend a lot of time together.
So when the parents of her patients have questions...
What I try to explain to families is that with vaccines, this vaccine went through the exact same process of all the vaccines that I give and that I have full confidence of.
In the Pfizer trial, the vaccine for 12 to 15-year-olds was 100% effective in preventing infection. So as a mom, she takes comfort in that.
It's such a relief as a mom, not just as a pediatrician, as a mom, to have him protected. There's always this constant worry.
In Billings, ANDREA LUTZ, MTN News.
Thanks, Andrea. And we checked in just before the newscast tonight, and we're told all the cash was gone by 3:15 this afternoon. And Andrea tells us KATHRYN and her son Jacob also walked away with $50. Well, money, a very good motivator for many, and as of today, there's another major driver to get in line. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says if you are fully vaccinated, you can shed your mask and stop social distancing in most indoor settings. CDC Director Rochelle Walensky says anyone who is fully vaccinated can participate in indoor and outdoor activities, large or small, without wearing a mask or physical distancing. However, there are a few exceptions. The CDC recommends masks still be worn in highly crowded indoor spaces. Those include schools, healthcare, correctional, and transportation settings. Also, keep your mask on if you are immunocompromised, if you start to feel symptoms, and of course, if you are not vaccinated. I touched bases with Yellowstone County Health Officer John Felton just a short time after the news came out today. He tells me this is a huge step forward, but we have a long ways to go as just 40% of Yellowstone County is fully immunized. And he hopes the chance to remove masks and remain safe will motivate people to get their shots.
What's expected is that if you're one of the 40%, then you kind of just got this get out of jail free card. If you're one of the 60%, for the good of your community, those folks still need to be masked when they're out in public.
And Felton says fully vaccinated means you are at least 2 weeks out since your final vaccine. Well, a day after being ousted from the leadership role in the GOP House, Wyoming Congresswoman Liz Cheney held a news conference to talk about her priorities moving forward. She says her #1 goal is to help Republicans win Congress and the White House back. And she didn't mince words when it came to the current President Joe Biden or the former one, Donald Trump.
Across the board, we're seeing really dangerous and misguided policies from the Biden administration. Stopping those policies requires that the Republican Party be in a position where we can attract voters back to us. We can look at what happened in 2020 and reach out to the voters who left us in 2020 and convey to them that we are a party based on ideals and beliefs and substance and policy. And that requires that we embrace the Constitution and that we reject the lies that the former president is telling about what happened in 2020.
Now, Cheney says she will work to fight reckless spending and higher taxes. She also expressed her concern about inflation, which she says is dangerous for the economy. Well, a huge expansion of the state income tax credit that helps private school students is now law in Montana. Advocates of school choice say it's a long-awaited step toward giving parents realistic choices for their kids' education. MTN's Mike Dennison has that story.
Governor Greg Gianforte signed House Bill 279 Wednesday at a Capitol ceremony attended by supporters of the tax credit. First enacted in 2015, the credit has allowed taxpayers to reduce their annual tax bill by up to only $150 for equivalent donations to something called student scholarship organizations, which give scholarships to students attending private schools. The credit is also for donations to public school districts to fund innovative educational programs which are defined in law. But now, the maximum credit for either type of donation will be $200,000 per taxpayer, a 13,000% increase. While large, the increase is not entirely unexpected. School choice proponents like Jeff Laszloffy of the Montana Family Foundation have long said an increase was needed to make the scholarship program available to more students and families. Then, two political events last year set the stage for that to happen. A landmark ruling by the U.S. Supreme Court saying Montana could not prevent the credit from benefiting religious schools, and the election of Gianforte, a Republican governor who supports school choice. The bill passed the 2021 legislature on mostly party-line votes, with Republicans in favor. Democrats like Missoula Senator ELLIE Boldman universally opposed it.
This is a $200,000 tax credit, not just to individuals, but to corporations. And I don't know about you, but I don't know how many of our fellow Montanans has $200,000 to shell out on a public or private school. But this is not for students, my friend. This is a tax break for the very wealthy.
But majority Republicans believe quite the opposite, saying it will benefit kids whose families want an education choice besides public schools.
The average scholarship that was granted in Montana to private school students from the scholarship or organization was about $2,100 for K-8 and about $3,200 for 9 through 12. So there's a lot of kids that can be helped with a $200,000 tax credit.
The new tax credit won't take effect until 2022. Its impact on the state treasury is limited to $2 million that year, but that limit increases to $4 million in 2023. Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
Thanks, Mike. The bill was sponsored by Republican State Representative Seth Bergley of Joliet. If you are interested in running for local office, the Billings Chamber of Commerce wants to help you get educated. The Chamber will host its candidate school next week. Multiple guest speakers will present to help potential candidates focus on what they need to know to campaign and to get a better understanding of each candidate before they run.
Done this for a number of years, well before I was here at the Chamber, but the intent is really to hopefully get more people interested in running for office, because there's a lot of unknowns, a little bit of hesitation when folks don't know what to do. So we want to help provide them that information, get them those resources to mount a successful campaign and give more choice and options out there to our voters.
Now, the guest speakers will include City Administrator Chris Kukulski, Councilwoman Kendra Shaw, and Councilman Mike Boyette. Now, this event is next Tuesday, the 18th, in downtown Billings from 8 a.m. to noon at Valley Credit Union. You can register at billingschamber.com in the Events tab. Well, as we get ready to welcome the summer season, the Billings Family YMCA wants everyone to keep safety top of mind when talking about the water. First, never swim alone. Teach children to only get in the water when a responsible adult is nearby. Next, children should always be supervised when they're in or near water. And if they're in water, you should be in arm's reach. Breath-holding activities are also not recommended because this can lead to drowning. And if you have an inexperienced swimmer, they should be in a life jacket. The Billings Family YMCA Aquatics Director says accidents can happen in the blink of an eye.
If a kiddo is taking a bath, if you think just the kiddie pool outside is going to be fine, a child can drown so quickly, under 60 seconds, to be honest. So it's important that no matter what, they always have somebody there watching them. Even if your child is comfortable in the water, you should have somebody there.
Now, another thing the Y teaches: reach, throw, don't go. Instead of jumping in to save a friend struggling in deep water, you should use a long object to reach and pull them to safety. Even great swimmers can become overpowered by panicked people pulling them under the water. Well, still ahead on tonight's MTN 530 News right here on Q2. The White Sulphur Springs golf team is proving that quality is just as important as quantity as they chase a State C golf title.
Hi, I'm Scott Breen at Will James Middle School. Coming up, how this core of adult Special Olympic athletes behind me finds its thrill playing soccer on the football field.
And the sun is out, everybody, but we might still see a stray shower or two as we move into the next couple of days. Full forecast in just